Who's ready for story time with 21 Maxwell, baby? Maybe not, but let's go. So, last episode you joined us, we had the roster kind of look down, which obviously has a lot of people on it. We've also agreed a deal for Priscilla Kelly, we've agreed a deal for Matt Cardona. Matt Cardona's signing is part of a strategy. My reason with that is, I want to try and push him really, really high, get him really, really over, which in turn helps Impact, and then from there we can send more workers over to Impact, and yeah, works both ways. We can get people over there and people over here. I could send them over, but I don't want them to get too unhappy. We've got a few people with morale issues, as you can see. So I'll just describe basically over history, our finance, a lot of things we'll describe as we go screen by screen. So you can see here, like the Minami, Toyota, Landstorm and Kane are all road agents, so don't worry, we certainly won't be seeing the big red machine on camera within AEW, but I've put it long enough now. The company's Titanic, we make a lot of money. It's basically abusing the system how we made so much money so quickly. If you know anything about TW, make yourself an internet commercial broadcaster, pump money into it, and you'll make money like nothing else. AEW Plus is a subscription on Fight TV that they use to broadcast Rampage and Dynamite over here, so I just created that, and month by month just pump money into it, to the extent, as you'll see by our finances, that we can afford to put 30-40 million per month in it, if not more, as you can see there. And broadcast revenues are massive, because that's obviously broadcasting Rampage, Dynamite, and whenever we're not on pay-per-view, because we tend to make a lot more not at pay-per-view than we do on it. As you can see, just 3 million, just shy of that with our Revolution, and of course coming up in a few days time, Double or Nothing. So I've kind of kept that idea. If I just go to events and TV, that looks like a lot of events, but the reality is we just really do mostly one a month. If we do two, it's probably like a pay-per-view, and at the same time there'll also be like a network special, as you like. But just a few ones I've added in, like the Grand Slam, so I do the wee event at Arthur Ashe every year, and I do like a Dynamite anniversary special as well. Just the wee things. But I want to bring in more shows like that, because as I say, we're not exactly short of wrestlers, that's one thing for sure. So that's that covered. In terms of our championships, there is one we use as the alliance belt, which is the Iwgp United States Championship. We have just recently, on one of my last shows, had a title change, and we had the champion Hirai Kawato defend it against Sammy Guevara and Kyle O'Reilly. I wanted Kyle to get some victories and have to have the belt as well, so he is your new IWGP US champion. But as far as our belts, we brought the TBS title in. Thunder Rosa won the tournament. She had a decent reign. She lost it to Serena, who was defending it against everyone. She then lost it to Jamie Hayter, and then it's our champion, Tony Storm. On the men's side, the TNT Championship, we obviously started, I believe, with Miro as champion, and similar to real life, I had him lose it to Sammy Guevara. He had a good run before losing it to Andrade, who lost it to Miro for a second run, and obviously we've just had that massive match between Miro and your current champion, Jeff Cobb. Women's Championship, Dr. Britt Baker had it for over a year before losing it to Thunder Rosa, who held it for probably about 6-7 months, and then she in turn gave it to Mercedes Varnado. And the Women's Tag Team Championships were won initially by Raquel and Jade Cargill, before Ronda Rousey and Tessa Blanchard, Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo, Io Shirai and Kairi Hojo, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and now TJ are your new champions. The Owen is basically our version of a G1. We had 10 wrestlers compete, which led to a final of Adam Cole versus Cody Rhodes. This cemented Adam Cole's face turn and him really getting over it. I also took Cody out of the initial slump he had in the mod, where he was kind of like not very good, and he got out of that, he got over, and he's close to main event level. The Brodie Lee Memorial Cup has not started yet, I've created it, but it's going to be like a trios tournament that I'm looking to do before we get to All Out. The Zero X Championship's pretty recent, that's just like an X Division idea. Pac won the first one, defended it for a long time, and your current champion is Ricochet. World Tag Championships, we have had, obviously your initial champs were Kazarian and Scorpio Sky. I think we started it with the Young Bucks, and I had them lose it straight away to Penta and Rey Fenix, i.e. real life. We then had Alex Reynolds and John Silver. They lost it to FTR again, and they've lost it to the highly experienced duo of Ace, Adam Copeland Edge, and Christian Cage. But hopefully their promos can help boost the workers they're with. And the World Championship, I've only used 2 champs. Kenny had it for over a year, and now Hangman is closing in on a year. It just took Kenny that long to help they want to put Hangman over, so I was always going to put the title on Hangman. We've had a couple of long reigns. Maybe coming up we'll have some hot potato of a World Championship. So we don't use a brand split. Don't have a figurehead. Product is just distilled at All Elite Wrestling. I always stick with Free Ring Circus, so you've got your Wild Brawl, your storytelling, your steal the show. That's what you predominantly go with. You can obviously use Epic, etc. if you want. But it means if a match is over 10 minutes, it's got a chance of a world class score. I always use Main Event Spotlight and Tight Focus. Main Event Spotlight puts all the pressure on a successful main event and allows you to experiment with the rest of the card. Tight Focus is again just your best promos, so if I get that one promo, it's great. Experiment the rest of the show. I don't use storylines. I take strict storylines away. It gives you, just for me, I want as much freedom as possible to fantasy book, so that is why those things are on. So just keep that in mind. That is what this, because I say it's an offline save, so I don't want to make it too difficult. I just want to have fun and book stuff. So we have a couple of child companies. We have the EDSM, was that Elite Development System Men, so I was going to make a women's one, but Shima and Sami Callihan are the top 2 there. Fujimoto and Sato own Ice Ribbon, and the Dark Factory, Shane Douglas and Chris Hero. We've always looked at the rosters for them. There was an idea of the Ice Ribbon that were loyal to them, was to shut the company down and just bring them all to America so they could maybe get some overness in America, but we're not exactly short on workers, so I haven't worried about that at the moment. Medical, still the same. Nobody due back soon apart from Machine Gun, but Doc Gallows' contract's up, so I expect Machine Gun to probably follow. And size wise we're doing pretty well. I don't see us getting much bigger than what we are, but we're practically 80s across the board apart from Tasmania and Shikoku, and I think there was one more we were struggling at. No, I think everyone else is over 80 anyway, but we're Titanic, we're way clear of anything else. We can afford to get a bit more experimental and lose popularity. Quite a few promises. So I need to have Calvin Tankman get victories over Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn and AJ Styles. Christian Cage is happy to put over Daniel Garcia. Mercedes Vernado over Daria Bernato. Nakamura is happy to put over Richard Holiday, as is Prince Devitt. And we also have Kenny Omega happy to put over Darby Allin. All those will happen, I'll make sure of it. But yeah, trickier when it's heel and heel, and you want to try and make it make a little bit of sense. From the creative side, our franchise players, Kenny Omega, Andrade El Idolo, John Moxley, MJF and Hangman. Our next big things, Chris Statlander, Sari and Big Swole. Our hot prospects, Tessa Blanchard, Tay Conte, Calvin Tankman, Sari and Flamita. Talk the talk, best mic workers are CM Punk, MJF, John Moxley, Chris Jericho and Ace. Showstoppers are Kenny, Andrade, Adam Cole, Mercedes Vernado and Io Shirai. Ring Generals are Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, Andrade, Adam Cole and Cash Wheeler. On the wave of momentum is Adam Cole, Kenny Omega, Pac, Santana and Powerhouse Hobbs. Such a good song that, such a good intro. Nobody has poor momentum, which is good. I'm booking okay in that regard. And people have to keep an eye out for our FA, Jacob Fatu, Alexander Hammerstone, Nick Aldis and Caveman Ugg. Sad note, literally the day before this, in game, Jake Roberts passed away, so I've lost Jake. Tony Schiavone's retiring, so the announced team is not that, it's the announcers, I should know that. Has already moved, for events to Pat McAfee, Mauro Ranallo and Excalibur. Pat McAfee then came on to Dynamite alongside Mauro and Excalibur, and they already does Rampage, so kept Tony because obviously that's real, but realistic, but yeah. They've all got excellent chemistry, so they've all done a lot of shows together. Going to go to the top 100 first. So you can see here, my aim is obviously to get this 100 show, and I've yet to do it, although we do have several in the mid to low 90s. Full Gear 2022 was our best one. We've also had the anniversary show was up there, and 83 Dynamite had a good episode in March, and same with Rampage. But winter is coming, June Big is in there, there's some really good shows. Top 100 matches, and you just see instantly Shawn Michaels is in my top match in 2023. Incredible. So with him, Hangman, Bryan Danielson take on the Elite, the Bucks and Kenny, and that gave us an 94. We've had Danielson versus Punk, Kenny versus Bryan, Bryan and Hangman against Andrade and Kenny, Hangman and Bryan against Lesnar and Punk at Grand Slam, and Bryan and Kenny Omega and again in April. One thing you'll see and notice quite straight away, everything here is 2023 and 2022. The mod starts in mid 2021 September after All Out. It takes time. It's never going to happen straight away. You've got to keep booking people as strongly as possible and get them into the best potential spot. Allow your company to grow, allow the spotlight to be on your company, and in turn you'll get the good ratings. That's how you'll never see anything for 2021, because 2022, 23, the company gets bigger and bigger. In fact, we just look at it, 94 for 2023, 93 for 2022. The best I could muster in 2021 was an 85. So it takes a long way to get people over, and that matchup was Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix. But it's amazing how at the start of the save, like an 85 was like, oh my god, incredible, and now it's just like, what would an 85 get you? An 85 would put you in the top, just to say this, top 20. In fact, I've had like a couple of like 20, well, only in May as well, so that'll probably be like a top 50 match. But it off quite recently. Well, there you go. Danielson and Devitt against Cody and Omega was last month. I'm sure the match was booked there. Eddie versus Bryan, May, Dynamite, 86. Attendances. There's a reason why these two are first appeared out of the rest for 2023. Regular pay-per-view, industry decline, free show but missing our main stars because it was a women's only show. So I thought if I could get 100,000 with women only, that'd be fantastic. Didn't have the star power, so obviously learned from that and done the free for all series. So yeah, that's why. But you'll see there, oh yes, there we go. We kind of region in that 65, but as soon as I got over the 100,000, the attendance didn't matter. That was a free event, by the way, that's why you get 100,000. But I just wanted to take that achievement off the box. And pay-per-view buy rates, I've only ever done 6 pay-per-views. This is going to be number 7 coming up, but yeah, I just mostly focus on the network specials because that's what the money is, and as I say, that's why the TV ratings. Again, give you an idea, you can see here 27.28 as we expanded, 18.01, December, that gives you an idea of where we started picking up again. 3.72, 3.55, so you can see there again, putting the investment into the company allowed for those great shows. So it's the one thing we promised, and that was going to be show history. So initially started doing some darks and dark elevations, but as I say, after the first week I was like, this is too many matches. There's obviously a lot of micromanagement you have to do, so I wasn't really fancying that. So I put a lot of them to developmental to try and get better. It's weird when you get something like QT Marshall, like you're never really going to use him, but he's one of the more pivotal members you need on the main roster because he's got so many proteges. So like every so often he'll give like Jade Cargill a boost in psychology, Anna Jay a boost in psychology. So I've brought MVP in, he's got a lot of people on. Brian Danielson's took over Daniel Garcia and Jungle Boy's proteges, so they're going to get better. So it's worth keeping these people, your MVPs, your QT Marshalls, that are going to be maybe not wrestling, but will help boost the stats of some of your younger workers. I started off with Grand Slam. I went out with the match we thought we were going to get, which was, of course, the Jurassic Express, Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, and Frankie Kazarian, the Elite Hunter, taking on the Elite, Kenny, the Bucks, and Machine Gun and Dog Gallows. That never happened. I thought Hangman would make the save. I tried to make that how I thought the show would go. Never happened. I had Matt Silva join up with Malachi Black. I had CM Punk against Ricky Stark. So close, because obviously that was Powerhouse Hobbs. MJF was like 55 over, so Paul White was a good person to put over. With Britt Baker defeat Ruby Soho and Miro get a win, and I think I just gave Moxley like 2-minute match just last time KM, but that's what I went with. Full Gear, I'll just go through kind of the more main event matches, but we'd already signed Roderick Strong at this point, so we had Christian, Bryan and Roderick Strong defeat Cole and the Young Bucks, and Kenny over Hangman there. You can see like the take on to challenging Britt Baker, and you could also see Moxley and Kingston versus Suzuki and Lance Archer. That led us to my last big event of the year, which was Winter is Coming. Punk versus Garcia in there, Lucha Bros Men of the Year. Big Damo was in for a short part to be the muscle of the Men of the Year. Had MJF Pac, Adam Cole versus Christian Cage with Hangman. My story arc at the time was Hangman, in order for him to find himself, he had to find the Dark Order, so he started turning the fortune around of Reynolds and Silver, and that started to work out for him as well. We had Eddie Kingston defeat Chris Jericho. We had that women's tag team title match that was previously mentioned, and Kenny defeating Bryan. Into 2022, just to confirm as well, by the way, I have booked 187 shows, so show number 200 is soon. But into 2022, and Beach Break was the first event in January, where Kenny defended against Phoenix, with Britt Baker defeat the shortly have debuted Becky Quinn. Kevin Steen made his debut by putting Bryan Danielson through a table, with Punk MJF, Hangman versus Adam Cole. And a cage match of Eddie Kingston, Proud and Powerful versus the Inner Circle, so they'd already bailed on Jericho, Sammy and Hager. Revolution stepped up, Kenny defeating the Hangman again, Kevin Steen over Bryan Danielson in a tables match, with Ricky Starks over Christian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs over Chris Jericho. The youngsters certainly getting their wins here. Malachi Black with a good victory over John Moxley, Serena and Becky opening the show. So I went there about the benefit of Reynolds and Silver, them getting victories here on against the Bucks was hopefully going to benefit Hangman as part of that storyline, and also a wee debut there of the AOP. Moving over to Blood and Guts, it was Hangman, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk and the Lucha Bros against Kenny, Malachi Black, the Bucks and Adam Cole, which saw Hangman get one bit of revenge, with Ronda Rousey and Tessa Blanchard win the Women's World Tag Titles. Sammy Guevara defend the TNT Championship against Kevin Steen, and Britt Baker over Hikaru Shida. Also had the Sami Zayn promo he was in. A nice wee John Moxley MJF, and a confrontation between Becky Quinn and Demi Bennett. On a Double or Nothing, it finally happened. We got the belt on the Hangman, and with a fantastic 91 rated segment there. Ronda Rousey, Britt and Becky confrontation in the ring was a 92, as Britt defeated Becky again to really... Becky was a big component in our women's division of getting Britt over, which in turn then got over Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, and then so on and so forth. Serena got to a good level, obviously. She's so good you want to work in with the lesser talents to elevate them in ring. But we also had, as I say, that great fatal 4-way tag match there. Reynolds and Silver picking up the win over the Lucha Bros, FTR and the Young Bucks. MJF getting his win over Moxley. Sammy defeating Kevin Steen again. Punk against Malachi Black. And Andrade with a fantastic win over Danielson. And Wyndham arriving and defeating Adam Cole. Of course, Darby Allin beating Sami Zayn as well. On the Fyter Fest, Hangman defeated Adam Cole, with Brock Lesnar appear and just destroy Jungle Boy of his manager Brian Alvarez. That was a funny joke that just never really over. Danielson made the save from Lesnar, so it was obviously building towards Danielson versus Lesnar. One final beat against the Young Bucks, of course, that was Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and a wee matchup you may see there. John Moxley defeating Atsushi Onita in an exploding barbed wire deathmatch. Can you tell I was watching that episode of Dark Side of the Ring at that point and thought I have to do this, but nice wee moment in a 53 rated match because Anita was spent, absolutely done. Fight for the Fallen, Hangman over Miro, Serena Deeb on the TBS Championship over Thunder Rosa. A good win for Steen and Zayn against Allen and Moxley, and the Butcher and the Blade falling to Reynolds and Silver. We also had an opener of that faction that Lesnar was involved in with Alvarez, as it was him, Claudio and Daniel Garcia in a losing effort to Danielson and a boy and his dinosaur. All Out then came, and that main event we went with was Hangman against Adam Cole and CM Punk, with Hangman retaining. Punk not very happy at the end. With Lesnar over Danielson, Thunder Rosa won the Women's Championship from Britt. Okada came in to lose to MJF. Ibushi came in to face Kenny, and Serena retained her TBS Championship against Becky Quinn. With Zayn and Steen against the Lucha Bros, with a Texas Death match between Allen and Moxley, and with a 90 rated match up there by Andrade defeating Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship just after FTR bet Silver and Reynolds, and also a wee Chris Jericho and Christian Cage versus Young Bucks matchup. Grand Slam popped up, and that was just a wee quick show in our Ash, only 2 hours, so we put some bigger matches on there. Hangman and Danielson defeating Punk and Lesnar. Good win for Powerhouse Hobbs over Cody Rhodes as well. An anniversary show, we went with Bryan Danielson defeating Kenny, had Hangman, Becky and Thunder Rosa defeating Britt, Cole and Ronda Rousey, and we also had Darby Allin lose to Andrade. This was obviously way before we had the cheating scandal in the game of Britt Baker cheating on Adam Cole with Sammy Guevara. Full Gear was on the way, and Hangman defeated CM Punk in the main event. Danielson got some retribution on Lesnar before MJF and Andrade attacked Jungle Boy and Danielson. MJF had an injury at the time, and the plan was to go Bryan Danielson MJF, so if we got his heat back, then it worked. With Wyndham over Eddie Kingston, and of course Cole and Baker were still together as they took on Bianca Belair Ford and Tess Ford, who I've done next to nothing with. Io Shirai and Kerry Hojo defeated Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo and Hikaru Shida and Saru to win the AEW Women's Tag Titles, and you can see that we had Cody Rhodes lose to Calvin Tankman. And then, winter is coming. Jon Moxley gets the opportunity against Hangman, and Team Taz decides to beat down Christian and Chris Jericho after their defeat before Ace makes the save. Obviously I started with Edge before I gave my name. With Mercedes Varnado debut, she defeated Chris Statlander. With Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker's feud come to a head, and you can see that we also had Darby Allin with a shock victory over Brock Lesnar. Imagine that happening. And Andrade over Bryan Danielson in the opener. Which takes us to 2023 and where we are presently at. Hangman defeating Punk with Cody over Malachi, Rush versus Leo Rush. A lot of these matches at Beach Break were actually part of that tournament they own, which is why you're getting 57 rated matches of Rush versus Leo Rush. Good wins in there for Chris Statlander over Becky Quinn, and an unsuccessful challenging of the championship for Mercedes Varnado against Thunder Rosa. And with Jeff Cobb defeat Brock Lesnar because I was aiming to give Jeff Cobb the push. MJF and Danielson confrontation because of the injury to MJF. Our presence is Elite was our women's only show on AEW Plus. It had 82,000 people at the Beaver Stadium. Full women's card, and as I say, just because we didn't have the big names is why it was a bit lower than attendance it should have been. Aim in the future is make sure we can establish women's stars to get us a real opportunity of a good show, but we've given them a few boosts for like celebs, etc. Solid card though, Mercedes Varnado winning the Women's Championship from Thunder Rosa, Statlander over Becky Quinn, Ronda and Shayna defeating Io and Kairi, with Toni Storm win the TBS Championship over Jamie Hayter, Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida, with Kana debut and take on Britt Baker, and we had a nice wee moment, you know, where I brought in the likes of Trish Stratus, Amy DeMar, Asha Kong, Bill Nakano, Brandy Rhodes, Vicky Guerrero, just to celebrate many generations of women's wrestling. Revolution was short to follow, made the own in the main event, which saw Adam Cole defeat Cody Rhodes to win the own before the debut of Tyler Black led to a bit of controversy between Cole and Black. The plan is eventually that we are going to move towards Adam Cole, Sammy Guevara, so we could touch on that feud. I wanted to jump straight into it, but I had Cole and so much stuff that we have to wait. Mercedes Varnado defeated Thunder Rosa in a 30-minute women's Iron Man match for the World Championship. Hangman defeated Andrade, it was only a 79, which was poor. MJF defeating Bryan Danielson, but that's leading us to MJF versus Hangman. FTR defeated Top Flight. AJ Styles had debuted, defeated Omega. And in your opener, Shawn Michaels botched the move, which is why him v CM Punk was a bit iffy. Dream Big, basically the tale of dream matches, was another free show where we had the full card here. And you can see with our main event of MJF defeating Danielson. So again, Hangman and MJF was all set going forward. With Tyler Black defeat Adam Cole. With Statlander, Rosa and Quinn defeat Mercedes Varnado, Britt Baker and Serena Deeb. Cole and the Young Bucks defeated AJ Styles, Sting and Darby Allin. Mental I'm using Shawn Michaels and Sting in 2023. But here we are. Jon Moxley pairing up with his friend Eddie Kingston alongside Proud and Powerful to defeat the Dark Order. Ace and Christian won the AEW World Tag titles. TJ won the Women's Tag titles. And Ricochet winning the 0X with a certain Shane Strickland in that match as well. Nakamura made his debut to confront CM Punk. And Kenny Omega defeated Shawn Michaels in a dream match, which I didn't know how it was going to go, hence it went on first. Blood and Guts then, we saw MJF take on Hangman, with MJF losing due to the return from Wardlow, meaning of course the matches that we'll see in your video in a few days time at Double or Nothing. But we had Moxley, Kingston and Proud and Powerful defeat Danielson, Devitt and the Jurassic Express, which is of course giving us more matches. Punk over Nakamura, and you can see their wins there for Sting and Darby Allin, one for Jeff Cobb with the TNT Championship. Basically leading up to what you're going to see in a few days time: Moxley versus Cobb, Kingston versus Hangman, Proud and Powerful versus Ace and Christian. You're going to see MJF take on Wardlow, Nakamura versus CM Punk again, and plenty more matches that I still need to work out over the course of 4 days in-game. Henry, so 27 minutes, that's a pretty okay roundup. As I say, there's probably stuff I've missed. If there is anything else that I've missed you'd like to see, let me know. There's our closed tournaments. If you want to pause anything and just look through, you can see the inaugural AEW Women's Tag Championships tournament. And there's the Owen as well. So Adam Cole won every matchup. Cody Rhodes second, Sammy Guevara third, Rush in fourth. So if there's anything you want to see, let me know. I'll happily pop up on the channel at one point. As I say, this is your second of the holiday specials, as you would like to call them. We don't have any schedule for pay-per-views, it'll just be when I book them. But as I say, Double or Nothing, I'd assume will be up a few days time, because I'm pretty close to booking that. So thanks for tuning in, hope you enjoy it. I'm enjoying the save, so yeah, catch you soon. Bye bye.